How's everybody doing? Wow. Man, there's a lot of folks out here. Yeah, that's real. You guys look absolutely amazing. Yeah. This is a good-looking crowd. It's a good-looking crowd. Wow. Wow, we packed from the front to the back. I love it. I love it. Do me a favor really quick. If you can just look at the person beside you, guy, girl, it don't really matter. You can just kind of look at her and say, you know what? You look fly. Just simply say, I know. That's not arrogance. You can just let them know, man, that's true. That's just true. That's not arrogance. Yeah, you guys look awesome. I'm going to enjoy spending time with you on this week. As I was introduced, my name is Wes Johnson. Some call me Wes, some call me Mr. West. And I've been a part of Young Life now for about 11 years. I've had a chance to serve in Prince George's County, Maryland. I've had a chance to serve in Washington, D.C. And now I'm serving as a part of the Greater New York team. Specifically serve in that great state, but oh so small, called Connecticut. But let me just say this. I am not just Wes, the Young Life guy. As cool as that is, I mean, it really is cool, and I enjoy doing it. But before I am Wes, the Young Life guy, I am Wes, the husband of a beautiful Jamaican woman. We have been married now. We've been married now for 21 years. And we have 4 amazing kids. While I really do enjoy spending time with my family, I'm really excited that we get a chance to hang out with you all this week. I really am. And so what I'd love for you to do, I want to show you a picture of my kids when they first came to Champion. And now let me show you a picture of them now. Let me introduce you to them formally. This is my oldest son, he's 19, his name is Asante. This is my 17-year-old, his name is Omari. My youngest son, his name is Allende, he's 13. And our baby girl, Dara, she's 11. Is Dara with us tonight? Okay, there we go. And this is my beautiful wife, Dion. This is going to be an incredible week, and everything that you do and see is specifically designed with you in mind. And with all of the excitement that will be taking place, if you will allow me to talk with you, encourage you, and perhaps even challenge you, I honestly believe that all of us will walk away at the end of this week perhaps looking at life a little different. And so as I'm looking out over the crowd, There are a lot of familiar faces and a lot of names that I recognize. But there are a lot of people that I don't know. And so as we're getting acquainted and we're getting reacquainted, let me ask you a question or two. Have you ever gone somewhere and thought you saw somebody you knew? Yeah. And had to do a double take to see if it was really them? Yeah. I did that with a few of y'all this afternoon. I'm like, yo, that look like... No, that's not. Here's another question. Have you ever formed a first impression of someone before you knew them? Yeah. Maybe it was predicated on the way that they spoke. Maybe it was predicated on the way that they dressed. Maybe it was predicated on the neighborhood or the community that you thought they were from. I'm not quite sure what it was. Perhaps it's like these mirrors that I have on stage. If you look at these mirrors, you'll see yourself. But it won't be an accurate reflection of who you really are. So if I took a picture of you based on these mirrors, and I showed that picture to somebody else, and when they finally met you, they would have to do a double take, because the picture didn't reflect who you really are. Here's what I want us to do tonight, very quickly. I want us to take a look at a story found in John chapter 4. To avoid further drama, Jesus and his disciples decide to leave this place called Judea and head back home to Galilee. And so now they've taken off and they're on their journey. Tired, hot, and thirsty, Jesus stops at this well called Jacob's Well. And while he's at this well, he sends his disciples off about another 1.5 miles away to go get some food so they can eat. And while he's at this well, this woman comes out to draw water from the well. Now this woman comes out to draw water at the hottest part of the day. She doesn't come out early in the morning before the sun rises, or in the evening when the sun sets like the rest of the women. She comes out in the hottest part of the day because she has been ridiculed, she has been rejected, and she has had the finger pointed at her, and she's been shunned because of some sexual choices that she's made. And so as a consequence, it's much easier for her to go in the hottest part of the day so that she didn't have to deal with the drama. And so while she's there, Jesus sees her and he asks her for some water. And this starts a conversation. Now what you got to know about this conversation between Jesus and this woman from Samaria is that Jews and Samaritans did not get along. They had a bitter history together. As a matter of fact, they avoided one another anytime they could. And so when this woman saw Jesus, to her, he was just another Jewish dude who looked Jewish, who dressed Jewish, who spoke Jewish, and who acted Jewish. And so when she saw him, there was nothing unique about him except for he was a Jewish man. Let's put that in our scripture so we can go ahead and unpack what that means. John 4 says this: soon a Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus said to her, "Please give me a drink." He was alone at the time because his disciples had gone into the village to buy some food. The woman was surprised, for Jews refused to have anything to do with Samaritans. She said to Jesus, "You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink?" Jesus replied, "If you only knew the gift God has for you and who you are speaking to, you would ask me, and I would give you living water. But sir, you don't have a rope or a bucket," she said, "and this well is very deep. Where would you get this living water?" Here's what's interesting. The more that this woman continued to have conversation with Jesus, the more that they began to dialogue and exchange, she realized that he was more than her first impression of him. The more that they continued to dialogue, she recognized that she had engaged in a case of mistaken identity. And I wish I could read all of it for you, but this conversation gets pretty heavy. It gets pretty deep. I don't know about you, but when I start getting, matter of fact, I had one tonight. When you start getting into an exchange with somebody, it starts getting deep, doesn't it? You start getting heavy, you're trying to win the argument, right? So they're going back and forth, and it gets real deep. And this woman even stole some low blows and some jabs in the conversation. And so, when it got to a point in this conversation, she says, you know what, I'm going to finish this for good. She says, when the Messiah comes, the one that we call the Christ, he'll explain everything. Jesus steps back and he looks at her and he says, I'm that dude. Something clicked when he said, I'm that dude. Despite being ridiculed, despite being rejected, despite having the finger pointed at her, despite being ostracized, despite being talked about, despite the whispers, despite all of that, something clicked. And I know it clicked because in verse 29, around verse 29, it says that she ran back to that same community that pointed the fingers at her, and she said, come see a dude that told me everything that I ever did. Perhaps there's somebody here tonight. You've had somebody form a first impression of you because of the way you speak, because of the way you dress, because of the neighborhood that you live in, because of the zip code that's identified with the place that you live. Maybe it's the part of town that you reside in. Maybe it's the complexion of your skin. Maybe it's the texture or the length of your hair. Maybe it's your body type or your proportion. I'm not quite sure what it is. Maybe somebody has formed a first impression of you. Or maybe you've engaged in a case of mistaken identity. Maybe somebody pointed the finger at you or somebody you knew based on a profile that you supposedly fit. There's somebody here, you've come here, and you have an impression of who God is or who God is not. Maybe for you, he's a bully. Maybe for you, he's some mean dude. Maybe for you, he has too many rules. Maybe for you, he's too rigid. Maybe for you, he's not fun at all. I, along with the leaders who brought you, want to invite you on a journey this week to take another look at God and to reconsider what you've heard about him and what you think you know. I want you to see a God this week who's willing to go where you are and talk with you and spend time with you regardless of what you've been accused of, regardless of what you've done, regardless of people's impression of you. I want you to see a God who's not concerned about any of that. He wants to provide the kind of water that would cause you to never thirst again. Here's a question. I'm going to go ahead and put a bow on this and tie it up and we're done. Here's a question. If you were in the position that this woman was in, how would you look at him? If you had an opportunity to experience him the same way this woman did, up front and personal, if you had an opportunity to experience him in that capacity, would you look at him any different? That's a question that we're going to unpack all week long. At this point, I think it's a wrap for me. I don't know what else we got lined up for y'all tonight. Thank you all.